St. Mary is a vibrant community that dates back to 1899. For almost 125 years, our church has been ministering to the needs of our community. And while facilities and faces have changed over the years, one thing remains the same: our commitment to Christ, to one another, and to the betterment of our community. As a result, our church today is an active community comprised of over 2,800 households. Led by a dedicated pastor, staff, lay leaders, and volunteers, there is an increasing number of ways that people of all ages can participate in the spiritual, educational, social, and service ministries of our church. Yet despite our strong heritage of activity and accomplishment, some significant challenges remain. School enrollment has increased by over 25% in the past 3 years. Enrollment in our religious education efforts grew by over 23% in the last year alone, and the number of registered families in our parish has grown from just over 500 families in 1971 to over 2,800 in 2023. In short, we are bursting at the seams. Our facilities are too small and too few to accommodate our parish and school activities. In addition, we currently spend a lot of time and money on maintaining our existing facilities, which now need extensive and expensive repairs. Our existing parish office center has served until recently as our parish rectory, office space for our parish staff, which became increasingly problematic because there was less and less downtime or privacy for our priests due to various parish activities that run from early in the morning to late at night, 7 days a week. And these were not sustainable living conditions for the well-being of our current and future parish leaders. Our existing parish office center was also not very welcoming and could not comfortably accommodate our entire parish staff. The building is not fully handicap accessible. Our office reception area is anything but welcoming and limited seating. And while our priests have offices on the lower level, 5 staff members have had to share 2 cramped offices on the lower level. And until very recently, there was an adequate office space to accommodate everyone. This setup isn't conducive to creating a comfortable office environment. Meeting spaces in our parish offices are also limited. There are only 2 small meeting areas within the building. Existing storage space for our parish offices is also minimal. The space itself is poorly configured and not easily or inexpensively reconfigured. There are major maintenance issues with the parish office building too. For example, the single-pane windows of our offices are not energy or cost efficient. The frames and glass of the windows are cracked and broken in places with water leakage issues that can't be fixed. In addition, the thinness of windows allows cold and warm air to easily seep in and out. Because of the building's age, constant plumbing issues with leaks cannot be permanently repaired without replumbing the building. So while we can live with these issues for now, they all must eventually be addressed. Our school enrollment has been growing too, and we like to bring back 7th and 8th grade classes, which we haven't had for almost 35 years. And with the school nearing capacity, we don't have space within our existing educational building to accommodate these grade levels. We also need a new, more expansive, air-conditioned, and easily accessible parish center that will enable us to more comfortably and conveniently host all our parish and school's various activities in a single connected space. From the parish center main level, there are stairs and a ramp down to the cafeteria parish hall and stairs up to the gym. The main level consists of 2 restrooms, a concession storage meeting room, and 1 meeting room, all accessible only by stairs. The lower level consists of a small parish hall, which also serves as our school cafeteria that isn't easily accessible because it's both apart from the school building and requires going up and down stairs. Also on this level is a combined parish and school kitchen and 4 small meeting rooms, one of which currently serves as an office for a parish staff member. The upper level of our parish center has a gymnasium and small, dirty, and dingy locker room facilities that serves as all our schools and parishes' recreational needs. In addition, the parish center we have now is also currently in need of extensive and expensive repairs. The building's windows are thin and not energy or cost efficient. Frames and the glass on many of this building's windows are cracked and broken in places, which allows cold and warm air to seep into and out of this building easily. The building's current boiler system is inefficient and in need of repeated repairs. In addition, this space has no air conditioning, so it's very uncomfortable to hold any activities in the parish center building during warm weather days. The cafeteria in the parish center is also only accessible by ramp, and the gym is only accessible by stairs. There's also not an ADA accessible restroom in or close to the cafeteria. This limits who can participate in activities held in the parish center. It also makes meeting rooms located there mostly unusable for any activity where our elderly or others with mobility issues might otherwise want to participate. And while the existing parish center could serve as an interim solution for temporary classrooms for our planned middle school, we'll ultimately need permanent classrooms that are connected to the school. We also currently have one small preschool classroom in our school that can only accommodate less than 12 students. We'd like to have a classroom large enough to accommodate up to 24 students of preschool age because there's a great demand for preschool programs within our local community. We also need a more safe and secure central school entrance. There are currently a total of 3 entrances, 1 main entrance and 2 side entrances, with one being a handicapped entrance to our education building and school. All of these entrances have buzzers, but we have no secondary sources of screening for those entering our building. Our existing school offices don't currently have a very spacious or welcoming reception area, a separate nurse's office, or ample meeting and conference space within or close by to our current school offices. In fact, when a child is sick, they go to and stay in the reception area of the office, potentially exposing others to their illness. We also need to expand our elementary school classroom capacity because of the growth of our religious education program in school. In fact, we currently need to break out our religious education efforts into separate sessions at different times and on different days, which is very inconvenient for students, staff, and parents alike. We also don't want to turn away students at our school, but with the student enrollment currently consisting of 126 students, we may have to because we're nearing full capacity. We also need a new, multi-use yet dedicated cafeteria connected to our school. Currently, students must go outside and over to the Parish Center for lunch, and this can be inconvenient and unsafe. In addition, when there are funerals at our parish during school days, funeral luncheons must be held off-site, which is an inconvenience for funeral families, or our school staff must eat lunch in the school classrooms. We also need a new multi-use gymnasium that's connected to our school. Currently, students must go outside and over to the Parish Center for gym, which is both inconvenient and at times unsafe. Our locker, shower, and restroom facilities near the Parish Center gym are also insufficient and are not usable for athletics. They are small and crowded and not in the best of conditions, making them barely sufficient for hosting large youth events. Because we're not allowed to have adult and youth activities in the same proximity within an open space, students are unable to use our gymnasium facilities when there is an adult activity at the same time in the Parish Center building. We also need a new, more ample commercial-grade kitchen because while our existing kitchen continues to serve us well, it's not air-conditioned and is too small to prepare and serve food for larger-scale events. We also need a new multi-use parish hall that's separate from the cafeteria for our school. Our existing hall, because it serves so many purposes, is constantly in use because aside from our gym, it's the only large group space we have at our church. Yet this space is almost unusable and is uncomfortable because it's not air-conditioned. And because our hall cafeteria is located on the lower level of our parish center, which is accessible only by one ramp, it makes it difficult for those with mobility issues to easily access this space. In addition, our existing hall is not large enough to host larger all-parish school and community events like our school's Magical Night fundraiser and our Parish Feast Day and Our Lady of Guadalupe celebrations. We additionally have very few meeting rooms available for adult groups to meet. There are currently only 2 small meeting spaces in our parish offices, one on the lower level and the other upstairs, which are difficult to access for those with mobility issues. In addition, there are only 4 small meeting rooms in the lower level of our existing parish center. This makes scheduling and hosting adult meetings difficult and limits the number of active adult ministries that our parish can have. Because most of our adult meeting spaces are located on the lower level of our parish center, this also makes it difficult for those with mobility issues to reach them. And finally, because our parish's main adult meeting spaces are located in finite spaces in older buildings, already in need of extensive and expensive repairs to make them code compliant and cost and energy efficient, we also do not have ample dedicated youth room at our parish, a place where all of our youth can gather at any given time. Currently, our youth group meets in the parish center in our cafeteria and classrooms on 2 separate nights. It would be better if all our youth could gather on one night in the same space in an always available, positive, and safe place. We also need to somehow expand our on- and off-site parking availability because there are too few parking spaces available for people who want to attend various parish activities, including Mass. And finally, we need to expand and improve our outdoor recreational space because our current playground is limited. Eventually, we will also need a new and larger church because the church we have needs extensive and expensive repairs, is too small for a parish of our size, and doesn't meet current safety and handicapped accessibility requirements or the needs of the modern liturgy. We also don't have a large and welcoming gathering space that leads into our church, a place where people can meet and greet one another before and after Masses, weddings, funerals, and other celebrations held in the church, which helps to build a more closely connected parish community. And we'll also need to someday address our need for a permanent and professional home for our parish staff and staff offices because we are limited with the space we have now. To address these needs, we have an ambitious but achievable plan. It includes purchasing and moving our priests to a new off-site rectory, consolidating our parish offices temporarily into our old rectory and current parish office building, adding back 7th and 8th grade classes to our school and providing them with temporary classrooms in our existing parish center. It also includes building an all-new and more expansive parish center, which will provide a new, more central and secure entrance to our school, more expansive school offices, new permanent 7th and 8th grade classrooms, which will allow us to remodel and expand elementary school classrooms too. This new parish center will also provide us with a new multi-use yet dedicated school cafeteria, a more ample and central commercial grade kitchen, a new multi-use gymnasium with updated locker and restroom facilities, a new parish hall with a catering kitchen, new multi-size and use adult meeting rooms, a new dedicated youth room, expanded on-street parking, expanded new temporary playground facilities, and eventually a new, more amply sized church, expanded off-street parking facilities, permanent new parish office facilities, and expanded and permanent playground and outdoor recreational facilities too. And this plan, which is already in action, first involved buying and then moving our parish priest into an off-site rectory in 5th Street, which is still close to the church but far enough away to provide more privacy and work-life balance for our priest. This has now freed up space in the original rectory and existing parish office building to move all our parish offices into a single, consolidated space, which, even though imperfect, will at least serve our parish office needs temporarily. And because we will be moving our parish staff members from that office in the parish center now into our existing parish offices, this will also free up space in the parish center so that we can add back 7th and 8th grade classes to our school, which we plan to do in the falls of 2024 and 2025 respectively. And while this won't be a perfect or permanent solution for our 7th and 8th grade classrooms, it will serve as an ideal temporary solution that will allow us to add back these classes more immediately until more permanent classrooms connected to the school can be built. Then the important next step in our plan is to build an all-new, more expansive single-level parish center that will extend from and be connected by an indoor walkway to the main part of our parish's education center and school. This new parish center will have a new educational wing that will provide new classrooms that will give us options for lower grades or accommodate our future 7th and 8th grades. It will also provide a larger preschool classroom so we can expand our preschool program, which will provide more revenue for our parish and serve as a feeder program for our school. It will also include a new central, safer, and secure double entry point access to our educational facilities that office visitors will have to pass through before gaining full entry to the building, thus further securing our school. The educational wing of our new parish center will also include a more spacious school office with a more welcoming reception area, a new nurse's office, a larger principal's office with an in-suite conference area and separate, more spacious working and conference areas for our school's administrative and educational team. Moving our existing school offices into this new space will also free space within our existing school building for enlarging our existing elementary school classrooms, which will enable us to accommodate more students in our religious education classes in school. The educational wing in our new parish center will also include a new dedicated yet multi-use cafeteria connected to our education center so students will no longer have to walk outside to access it. And because our plans also include a new separate parish fellowship hall, we will no longer have to go off-site for funeral luncheons or have our students eat their lunches in a less than perfect place at the school. Plus, this new cafeteria space can also be used for a variety of other purposes too. The new parish center will also include a new multi-use gymnasium that will connect to our school so students will no longer have to go outside to access this facility, which will serve not only as a place for gym classes, but also to host a wide variety of other youth and adult recreational activities. This new space will also have a new close-by and more adequate shower and restroom facilities. Our new parish center will also include a central and more spacious commercial-grade kitchen with more spacious commercial-grade appliances, food preparation and storage spaces that will not only serve as a school kitchen, but will also enable us to prepare and serve food for a wide variety of large, all-parish school or community events. Our new parish center will also include a new ground-level multi-use parish hall so that parishioners and visitors will no longer have to go downstairs to access parish social activities and events. Our new, more spacious parish hall with an adjacent catering kitchen will be able to host funeral luncheons, wedding receptions, parish breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, as well as coffee and rolls after Mass. We will also have space here and with our new and larger gymnasium to host larger all-parish school and community events like our school's Magical Night fundraiser, parish feast days, and Our Lady of Guadalupe celebrations. Next to and beneath our new parish hall and our new parish center will also be an ample number of new, various-sized multi-use meeting rooms with the lower-level large group meeting rooms capable of being subdivided into various size and use spaces that will be accessible by both elevator and stairs. Adjacent to this new lower-level meeting space will also be a new aptly sized and dedicated room for our youth, a place of their own that our parish youth will have access to every day of the week. While the new parish center is being built, we also plan to add new angled parking spaces along the entire block of 11th Street and on at least half of 12th Street. Then, once the new parish center is complete, we will remove our existing parish center building and construct a temporary outdoor recreational space with a basketball court and playground in its place. We also plan to eventually build an all-new larger church on the northwest side of our campus to better serve a parish community of our size, as well as the needs of the modern liturgy. This new church will also include more ample seating, a large indoor gathering space that will serve as a welcome center for greeting, consoling, congratulating, and getting to know one another better, as well as an overflow seating space for Christmas and Easter. It will also include a new, more professional parish office center and space within or connected to the church. While our new church is being built, we also plan to expand our available on-site parking by adding 2 new paved parking lots to the north and west sides of our new parish activity center and to the east and south sides of our planned new church. Once our new church is complete, our existing church and parish office building will be removed, and we will relocate and potentially expand our outdoor recreational facilities and playground to this newly vacated space. To address our needs and plans, we are initiating an ambitious fundraising effort titled the Blueprint for Our Future campaign. Our aim with this effort is to raise the funds needed to address our various parish facility needs. Our Campaign Appeal Council recommended we set a minimum goal of $3 million for this effort, which is in line with what they feel we can minimally expect to raise. So we have heeded their advice and decided to set a minimum goal of $3 million, which will enable us to provide only seed money for this planned project or build our planned new parish hall, adult meeting, and youth room facilities if we so choose. A $6 million groundbreaking goal has also been set, which will enable us to begin construction on and complete the planned educational wing of our new parish center, renovate our existing building to accommodate additional students, add new off-street parking spaces to our existing campus, and expanded temporary playground facilities. Achieving our challenge goal of $8 million will enable us to break ground for and complete the entire parish center building, including our planned new parish hall, adult meeting room, youth room, off-street parking, and expanded temporary playground facilities too. And finally, reaching our $12 million ultimate goal will enable us to both complete and fully fund our planned parish center, our planned new off-street parking spaces, and our planned new temporary playground facilities with little or no debt if met. In order to reach our financial objectives, we will need both a substantial number of givers and a few fairly substantial gifts. And to ensure that we reach our objectives and our potential, all members and others associated with and those who have a special interest in our church are asked to consider special gifts over and above whatever they may already contribute regularly to us. Gifts to our campaign can be made in a variety of ways. Long-term subscriptions or pledges payable over 3 years are easier for most and essential to meeting our goal, since it will be impractical, if not impossible, to reach our objectives with one-time out-of-pocket gifts. Pledged gifts may be paid in monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or annual installments via cash, credit card, or direct deposit gifts at the donor's discretion, and a 10% or more initial investment towards your total pledge is encouraged and requested. Non-cash gifts are an additional or alternative way to support our cause. These types of gifts include gifts in kind, such as labor and materials, gifts of securities, such as stocks, bonds, or gifts through qualified charitable distributions, such as IRA rollovers. They also include gifts of real estate, such as marketable land, homes, vacation, rental, and commercial properties, or even valuable personal property, such as precious metals, gems, jewelry, artwork, collectibles, and even new or slightly used and classic automobiles, watercraft, and mobile homes. And finally, you can also choose to support our efforts through deferred gifts. These are gifts that can be given or arranged for now, but will not be received until later, and include gifts of new or fully paid-up life insurance policies, certain types of trust arrangements, and gifts through a person's will by bequest. All non-cash and deferred gifts, however, must be reviewed and approved first by the church. There are also a variety of special giving opportunities that show what gifts at various levels will enable the church to do, and what donors can dedicate a gift in honor or memory of whomever they choose, so long as it's approved. Donors of these special gifts will have their names and or the names of they are honoring commemorated in some special way, as will donors of all gifts to our campaign. But whatever your gift or method of making it may be, please be assured that your support is both urgently needed and will be greatly appreciated. Through the prayerful volunteer and financial support of many and the extraordinary support of a few, our campaign can and will be a success. And then, our past accomplishments as a church will only be a prologue to an even more promising and prosperous future filled with even greater success. Won't you please join us in this exciting and essential effort to better ourselves and our ability to serve God and one another through the works of our church?